On the edges of Timbuktu is a dying lake. The lake has been fading off for years, with sand dunes taking over the land. The situation has made life unbearable for residents here, some of whom are dying. Abdul Karim is one of the many residents here who has been hardly hit by the crisis. He explains this whole area was filled with water. Then the water receded and the trees started to grow around the lake. The trees started to disappear and people cultivated the land when there were no more trees. During the first rebellion, displaced people settled here and destroyed the forest. And when there was no more forest, the dunes formed. Humans are not the only ones facing the brunt of this situation. Livestock are also struggling to survive. Between breeders and farmers, there is not a day without conflict. Because the space is small, everyone wants to exploit it. After harvesting our product, we transport them with a lot of risk. Even the women you see behind me are exposed. Their maize can be intercepted along the way. Clearly, there are no more rains, with houses and schools gradually being buried in dunes. This has a huge impact on education in the area. It's a school of about 400 students. 400 students means a whole generation. A lost generation, a generation prepared for the exodus or for recruitment. But unfortunately, there is a force stronger than us that has come to destroy the school. The advancing desert, the erosion, the silting. So we are in an area where since 2012, our communes only exist with the support of partners.
Dans une zone où depuis 2012, nos communes n'existent qu'avec l'appui des partenaires.
The United Nations has predicted droughts in the African Sahel are set to deepen and become more frequent. Democratic Republic of Congo's Constitutional Court on Tuesday swore in an electoral commission chief amid controversy over his nomination. Denis Kadima takes over as president of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Together with his newly sworn-in team, Kadima has the task of organizing the next elections by 2023. The team was sworn in before the assembled Constitutional Court, President of the institution, as well as the Attorney General of the Republic. Kadima's appointment has not been a unanimous decision, with religious groups who are supposed to nominate members by consensus disagreeing. 6 out of 8 religious groups voted for Kadima, with the Catholic Church and the largest Protestant group, the ECC, opposing it on grounds that the nomination process was irregular. Their argument is supported by opposition MPs who did not endorse him in Parliament during the approval of his nomination on October 16.
In Morocco, a tradition is on the decline. Berber tattoos were used to determine tribal affiliation and identity, indicate the marital status of women, as well as if they are ready for marriage. Not anymore. These 2 women are among a minority who still have Berber tattoos. Fatma Masoudi, 89, and Igudane Tagilmani, 86, live in a Berber town in Morocco. There are several tattoo patterns, and each one chose what they wanted. They use black charcoal, then stitch the skin with a needle and place the substance through these openings, and wounds to remain inside the skin. This operation was very painful. Then I would wait for a week until there was a crust on my face. Then I removed it, and at this time we can see the final result of the tattoo. The Berber tattoo was totally different from what we see today. It had several meanings and several patterns. Each one has its own definition. But today this modern tattoo we see is not mine. It comes from other countries and young people prefer to do it. They were also done for cosmetic and therapeutic reasons. During their heydays, tattoo centers were considered like beauty salons, a place where women used to go to look pretty. There are no properly documented origins of the tattoo culture among the Berbers, according to this historian.
The
Amazigh use many symbols in various types of carpets, ornaments for women, as well as in tattoos. Symbols were numerous, such as triangles and half circles. We find these in earrings, bracelets, and anklets. We also find these symbols in many Amazigh dresses and costumes, whether for women or men. The symbols in tattoos can, among others, have meanings related to strength, energy, fertility, healing, and protection from envy. The tattoos began to disappear since the 1960s, and with them, a part of the Berber culture.
It's over 5 years since the Minister of Federal Capital Territory in Nigeria announced a ban on open grazing within the city center. But despite a ban, cows continue to roam the streets and roads of Nigeria's capital freely in disregard of the directives. Legal practitioner Res Ogboku says the issue of the cattle and open grazing is a typical Nigerian issue and a big business for the brothers in the north, especially politicians.
It is not because government cannot really set up, but the point is how effective with such ban, as we have seen 2016, we are in 2021, and you get to the National Assembly, you see cows, get to the central bank, you see, go to the front of the police stations, the police headquarters, you see the cows grazing. They are not actually grazing. You see them moving around because there are no grasses to graze.
Although the Federal Capital Administration says open grazing is banned within the capital city, but the scene behind me can be noticed in most streets and roads in Abuja. Motorist says the activity of these herders obstructs free flow of traffic and sometimes causes accidents.
They affect us so much that they cannot even allow us to move, use the road. They always block the road with their cows. I don't know what. Actually, we are tired.
Some say the practice is a serious threat to food production and security as the animal graze on farms, causing wanton destruction as they eat up crops.
In the north, it will really take time to put such things in order. In the south, what I expect governors to do is to create such zones and ensure that such cows are placed in those areas, in fact, in confinement.
Open grazing has been the source of conflict between host communities and herders across the country, resulting in the displacement of residents. Michael Dibie, Abuja, Nigeria.
Streets remain empty and shops closed since Monday when a senior military official announced the dissolution of the government and declared a state of emergency. U.S. Deputy Representative of the United Nations Richard Mills has condemned the military coup in Sudan, stating it puts U.S. assistance at risk.
This contravenes the constitutional declaration and the democratic aspirations of the Sudanese people and is utterly unacceptable. As we have said repeatedly, any changes to the transitional government by force in Khartoum puts at risk U.S. assistance.
The African Union has called the military takeover in Sudan unconstitutional and suspended its membership within the continent-wide bloc. UN Security Council President Martin Kimani spoke to the press.
They've strongly condemned the seizure of power by the Sudanese military and the dissolution of the transitional government, and they totally rejected the unconstitutional change of government. They're calling for the immediate and unconditional full release of all detainees and warning, and I'm using these exact words, warning the military that they will be held responsible for the personal health, security, and safety of these detained officials.
The coup comes after a rocky two-year transition outlined in an August 2019 power-sharing deal between military and civilians. Tensions had already intensified between the civilian and military side, but divisions peaked after a September 21 attempted coup.